And three, two, one, boom. And we are back with another episode of Crack Gamers. This episode brought to you by Zenreal Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenrealclothingco.com or check out the free Zenreal playlists. Also at the same website if you're not into spending money. And in these COVID times, we're not really into spending money right now. Okay, so, well, first off, hopefully the audio is a lot better for you guys. We like mixed it a bit, trying to figure out these levels and our distance from the mic.
Yeah.
But that's not the topic for the day. The topic is aliens.
Are they among us?
Are they among us? Is it real? Okay, so you didn't watch the Bob Lazar doc, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's totally fine. But so, do you think it could be disinformation? This first off the bat, do you think it's disinformation? Like to try and like distract us from the perils of what's going on right now?
Well, at first thought it would be like that. That was my first thought.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
It's another red herring.
Yeah.
Right?
But you brought up like another good point. Was that from that Bob Lazar or someone else was saying it on the podcast where already there's a lot of crazy information? It's like
it's Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah.
He was saying that.
Might as well release some of these truths because it's like
nobody will care.
Nobody will care as much because there's other things that people are worrying about.
Totally, and that's the weird thing you gotta think about. Like, it could, if it is real, what a perfect opportunity to like release it.
Yeah,
because like we're all focusing on like BLM and like COVID and
I think that makes more sense than like. I think that, like, it's always like my default position was like, oh, are they just trying to cover up the fact that how bad COVID is? But then it's like the news has always been about COVID and still is, even though the alien news is out there. So the focus was
so it wasn't really a distraction. It was just like, drop this.
Yeah. Like here's like if it was the normal news days, then it would have been like a bigger news cycle.
Yeah, because like what would people have thought if, like, let's say everything was totally normal and then you drop out aliens, people would be like, whoa, this is a huge story, we all got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, there'd be more focus on it.
Actually, when it first came out, when they first declassified the videos, there was no craziness in the news and people flocked to Area 51.
Yeah,
so like maybe they were like, oh, that was a bad time to release it because like we saw that craziness will ensue. So like why now? That's what I'm wondering. Why now?
Yeah. Well, I think it was New York Times or someone saying like Pentagon is gonna release some other information about it.
Yeah.
Don't know when.
Oh, okay. But remember, like a couple of days ago, August 28th, that's when they released. That's when like the Toronto Star, they brought up how RCMP dropped like 10,000 documents on like their studies of UFOs.
Yeah, that's the thing we forget too. It's like we just only see the American news and we think only Pentagon or like CIA and stuff like that. But then there's like other countries that are really involved in it too. You don't even
totally know,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, well, because like the U.S. is the media outlet of the world, right? Like that's where we all
they are. Yeah.
Right? Like they're the entertainment platform.
Yeah, but we forget like there's other ways to find sources too, not just from America.
Totally.
There's Canada. There's probably other like UK, like other countries who are a little bit more laxed in some of these hidden stuff, I guess. Yeah. So they might have a different type of information or some more information than.
It's funny too, like when you think about it, because like my sister was telling my parents like, oh yeah, aliens are real, like you just talking about it, and then they're like, oh, you can't believe everything you see on the news, and it's like, but you're watching the news.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you differentiate what's real and what's fake? You know what I mean? Like
by trying to use your own cognitive.
But then
processes.
Okay, but this isn't like so the thing about this alien thing is it's not like maybe aliens. It's like, no, these are the documents we have on them.
Yeah.
They're not saying real.
Are they? They're not saying directly aliens, right?
They're just saying that it's not from here.
What, have they said that?
I think so. Well, that's what they've been saying on Joe Rogan. Like, I can't find that article.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. Like, I didn't see anyone per se say that.
Okay.
At least what I've seen. Like, they're just saying that it's unidentified. Like, they don't know
Yeah, yeah.
where it's from, if it's from Earth or like maybe it's from space, but they're not saying either or. They're just saying they don't know, right?
So totally. How do you feel about this other concept of like, so okay, Bob Lazar, when he dropped the alien stuff back in 1980, he was talking about this like element that wasn't on the periodic table at the time. And then like 23 or no, 13, 14 years later, they created this new element, which is the one he was talking about. And then they're like, let's add it to the periodic table. So it's like, how did you know years before about this? Nobody was talking about it. And then.
No, I don't think that's like. I know what you're saying, but like sometimes that's how it works, even in science. It's like someone would find something, right? But it won't necessarily be on the periodic table till
because
it's
it hasn't been
replicable.
vetted.
Yeah, it has to be repeatable or replicable, whatever that is. Like it has to be go through that process in order for it to go onto the, like, onto science things. Like
True. Okay, so maybe he was just like ahead of his time.
yeah, like they could, yeah, you could find things. I don't know, like was there other people at the time also agreeing with him on something? Like that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like it's not it's a longer process
to vet things.
Yeah.
All right. What about this? How about so what they did? So the story goes that something crash landed from space, which is an alien craft, and then they're using this alien tech. They're trying to reverse engineer it, and in the process of reverse engineering, they created things like the Blackbird, and like all these like crazy vehicles in the U.S. Army.
Yeah. The funny thing is like movies have been talking about that,
right?
A long time. Like,
but they were talking about it because this thing happened.
This thing was there. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. And they're adding into those. So now it's more like people have gotten used to that.
Yes.
In movies.
Yes. Okay.
It's like maybe this is just okay, so that's true. It's like, you know what I mean?
So Tom DeLonge, I went back to re-listen to his podcast on Joe Rogan because the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, this guy's like nuts. But he'd always been talking about it, like because I love that band as a kid. I watched their like documentary behind the scenes, and like even in those documentaries, he was trying to tell people about aliens. But like as a kid, you're like, maybe this is real. I don't really know. Who cares,
right. Even the Angels and Airwaves, right? It's like kind of like
it's about
the
aliens.
Name. Yeah.
It's totally exactly. So that makes you think, and then. In the recent podcast with George Knapp, George Knapp was giving credit to Tom DeLonge.
Okay.
And I was like, wait, what? Like, so he really was in these circles? Right? And then...
well, give some credit to him, right? Because there was so much backlash against Tom DeLonge
because he sounded crazy because he's the only one talking about it.
Yeah.
But then, so what you were saying is like about the movies thing. So that's actually what allegedly the Pentagon hired him for. So like he was creating a bridge for how to disseminate this information to the public, because you can't just drop it and then people freak out. So he's like, what his plan is you create a whole like franchise like Disney, and you create these like alien movies that are using real things but to tell a story. And then once you do that, people are like, is this real?
Yeah,
and then they look into it,
right.
They find out it's real.
It becomes normalized in society.
That's what he was trying to do. Like he's like, instead of just dropping it like a freaking bowling ball, he was like, hey guys, by the way, it's more like you normalize it, like you were saying. But the thing is like, what is real and what is fake? So I picked up his book because I want to read because he's like everything, like the closest account of what's going on about aliens is in my book Secret Machines. So I'm like, okay, let me read it. Like it's about like world banks and like government interest, and like it's basically uses like world economies. And that's why you can't drop the alien thing, because if you find out about this like new way to power things, then goodbye like oil and gas.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? Like,
yeah, I'd have to. It makes sense.
Yeah. Right? Like
it'll change the whole industry.
And that would just totally disrupt the world, though, because the way the world economy is.
Because it could give countries that don't have as much money, more power.
Yeah, because what if that then it'll become like a race to find this resource.
Yeah.
And then that just totally disrupts the playing field.
Yeah.
You know, of what we've built up as a global society.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll have to rewrite the whole economics.
Yeah.
Right. And then, but I think this is the perfect time to do it potentially because like we are kind of rewriting the whole economic structure right now.
Yeah.
With COVID.
Right. Yeah. Like, cause I just read like how in America, it's like the decline, I forgot the exact phrasing, but it's like, we haven't had that kind of drop since 70 years or since we started holding records.
Oh, really?
Keeping records. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
see, it's like,
it's
what a weird time to be alive, you know? And a lot of the things that I find, especially now, is like what we think is important is not going to be important in the future, you know? Like, so for example, like we were talking about this before, but like yoga studios and martial arts studios have opened back up. But like, I can't, like, I think I might go next week, but I kind of don't want to like, can't find the motivation for it. Cause it's like, what is this going to serve me in the future if we're all digital?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I think it's just more.
Aside from exercise, like, okay, fine, exercise. But
that's
like,
only what I did it for when I was going.
Right, but I was looking for like self-defense, like actual like militant.
So yeah, that's for martial arts.
Yeah, martial arts. Yeah. So it's like, what's the point? You know, because like that's what I mean. It's like post 2020, things are being rewritten now, and it's like, what do you actually value?
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it does really come down to what you do value. Yeah.
But in what we value, we will purchase, and what we purchase becomes the entirely new economic structure.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's like a very pivotal point in our history right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what happens in the next few months, because there's gonna be like the new iPhones are coming out. Are people gonna buy that?
Totally. Yeah. But I feel like with tech, of course you're gonna buy it. You know what I mean? Like, so
or no, not necessarily. It's like like would the same people that have kept the device or always change the device every couple of years or every year, would they hold on to it for another year?
Right. Especially with like
so that would
have
that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know, my it's so funny. My I was watching CNN with my dad. It's been a while, but it's weird to like see how much fear mongering is going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're especially about COVID. They just have the stats on the screen. You're just like, oh my god, like what are we doing? And they talked about the hurricane. But anyways, so the segment that was on was too much of a monopoly for these tech giants.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying like the future, it's going to be unfair because Facebook, Google, Apple, Amazon, I think there's one more I'm forgetting, but like they're going to rule the world because you're going to have a monopoly. And then they were like complaining, but I said like, then don't use it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why are we complaining over this stuff? Just stop using the product. But you can't stop using it. So it's like, it's justly deserved them to, like you like, to me, it's like you provided me a service that I'm going to use all the time. Mm-hmm. So why would you not benefit off of that?
Yeah. I think it depends on, I don't know what specifics they were saying, but I don't see normally Apple being on that list. It's like Apple has other competition already in that field, right?
Well, what they're afraid of is that they talked about these tactics, but like because they have so much money, they can just buy out their competitors, which is what Facebook did. They bought Instagram and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it's like that's what they're afraid of, but you have the money.
Well, maybe for Facebook, but like what? I mean, I think it depends on each field because they already have something like where you can't be a monopoly.
Yeah.
That those rules already exist. So like if they reach a certain time, like the main thing that I was hearing was more like about Amazon. If they take over 70% of the market or something, it's like.
But I never understood that because it's like Amazon. Oh, and then it becomes like it's sort of like oil.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a part of the government regulation. Is that?
Yeah, they have to have. It has to be like broken down, like where it has to be different segments.
Interesting.
Something
Okay.
like, I don't know exactly how it works, but they have rules over monopoly already.
But but even with that, it's like it makes no sense to me that you can become so.
Because they want competition. The idea of monopoly is to, if everything is all ruled by one, then there's no competition.
No, but there is competition, right? Except the competition can't keep up.
That's why you have to do.
You have to break it up. Yeah, yeah. But
That's what I'm saying. Those are the rules are there.
it seems kind of weird though to me.
I'm not an economist to understand it, but I think it is there for a reason. So,
But also, it's dependent on each region. So,
Yeah.
Amazon could be a monopoly in America, but it's not a monopoly in Canada. Let's say.
yeah, but the rules are for the nation.
That's what I mean.
They're not
so,
for the
So
world.
it's like what businesses will usually do is they're like, okay, so all right, cigarettes, for example. So when cigarettes were being banned in North America, they just went to Asia, and everyone smokes in Asia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, so it's like
Yeah.
you just switch your market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do that.
But I just find that like,
Amazon will have a hard time though. Like,
but they're all over the
no,
world.
they're
you
all
know?
over the world. I mean, I was only thinking about China. It's like, I don't think they could do it in China because they already have a competition there.
Oh yeah, but still, it's like, it's like,
But they do have the world. They do like, or like the number one and
yeah,
like that kind of
number
stuff.
one like logistics company.
Yeah,
You know. Yeah.
but that's why it's up to the countries how they make those rules. It's in America that there's a monopoly rule. Like there's a,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
So they're not there yet, and I think they know that, so they
So
can
they're just trying to like
they can play
ride that
around.
line.
Or
They're
just
like, we're at 69%,
well,
bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thresholds. That's so funny because it's like in doing that, you're kind of creating like a necessity to be conniving. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Like it's like okay, there's this rule for you can't control 70%. All right, we're gonna be at 69.99999. You know, we're gonna prove it every year. And then people are like, oh, that's so like sneaky and diabolical. It's like, no, you set the rule. Like, I just have to bend the rule, but not break the rule.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
But of course, everyone's going to try to do that, right? Like that's the,
no, but that's what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
you're kind of building like, you're building into your structure the possibility to lie, cheat, and steal.
yeah. But what else can you do? You can't
No,
say
no, but,
you
but,
can.
but then
right?
we turn around and we're like, look at these liar, cheat, and stealers. You know, it's like, but you set the bar.
No, but whatever they're doing is still legal. I don't think it's lie,
that's
cheat,
what I
and
mean.
steal.
No,
It's
but
still
it's like
it's all under the
ethical.
legal banner.
No, it's legal, but is it ethical? Right? There's like the legality versus ethical
Yeah.
dilemma all the time in business.
Yeah. I don't think. I think it just works under legal. I don't see the point of bringing in ethics.
How do you feel about legal versus? Because I remember that being like a big thing that we were studying. Like we had this like business ethics class, and then it's like, well, what's ethical? What's legal? To me, it's like if it's legal, that's more important than ethical.
That's what I. Yeah. That's it.
Because you're setting the bar. It's like
Yeah. If you want to, then you make those rule changes.
yeah, totally.
That's what I view it as. Like, if you don't want to make them go through those other loopholes or whatnot, then you make those changes in law.
See that? Yeah, totally. I agree. But I find that it's almost like the people that are objective are the ones that have no problem with subjectivity. Because they're like, okay, this is the rule. Let me just follow this. But like when you get into ethics, that's all about subjective, individual opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the reason they were bringing that up was, I don't know, like Google, like on the CNN or whatnot, like
Yeah.
Google, Apple, Amazon, and Facebook. They're all like in the, like they had a talk in front of Congress or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
or
that.
Senate. I don't remember which one.
And they were
Yeah, that
just
happened
like,
recently. That's probably why it was on the topic.
okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, let's speculate. Aliens.
All right, back to that.
What? Let's go through the possible scenarios. Okay, so if you look into ancient civilizations,
Yeah.
right. So the best, you don't like the descriptive of this because it's not. There's a better way to say it, I guess. But Andrew Schultz was saying like, productivity or like progression isn't linear.
Yeah.
Right, and you're like, well, what does that mean? Because it's still linear. But so basically what it is like,
well, I was doing it like segment. My segment is linear.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so like the general narrative that everyone gets taught is like we were hunter and gatherers, we created some pyramids, then the Roman Empire time, and then blah blah blah, et cetera, like till this time.
Well, that is from like 5,000 or 10,000, whenever that started, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we're hunter gatherers. We're counting from there to now, technically linear. So now we're going further back than that.
No, right. So what is believed, if you look into like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, they have the best case of where human history came from, right? And what it is like we got up to this advanced civilization point, let's say it's now, and then a global catastrophe happens, and then the majority of Earth gets wiped out. The only ones that survive are hunter-gatherers, and they have to build up again.
Yeah.
But when they're building up, they find these crazy structures. So like what they're finding is the pyramids, they weren't built. They've just been continuously, they weren't built by the civilization we believe. They were just continuously habitated or
Habituated?
No,
That's not the
habituated.
word.
Like moved in, like a crab, right?
Right,
Like
I got you.
crab.
Then they used
Like,
it. Yeah.
then the new
They moved
civilization
in.
comes
That they, yeah.
And they're like, oh, look at these crazy pyramids, and then like we're gonna use it for this, and then like another global catastrophe happens, and then we're gonna use it for this. You just keep doing this like step ladder.
Yeah.
It's not linear. It's not like a slide. It's like a step ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Or like not even a step ladder, because you regress and then you keep going forward.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of the global catastrophe.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that's why.
No, I get it from that perspective.
Right. Totally. Right.
Yeah.
And so like ancient. If you read into like ancient texts, they talk about like the golden age, the bronze age, silver age, you know what I mean? And then we cyclically go through those.
Yeah.
But in contemporary society, we think it's like linear, but it's like, no, but it's a circle. Cause like we get up to this point, we mess things up. We got to go back.
Right.
Like if you look at it like today, right? So we've hit this global pinnacle, right? And then we have climate change. Climate change wipes out everyone except for a select few. And then that new civilization in the future is going to be finding like remnants of us, like plastics.
Yeah.
But then it's, when do you start writing history? Right? Because then we'll have totally forgotten that we didn't invent plastic.
Yeah.
Like that new civilization. Yeah. It's like we came upon plastic.
Right.
But like, if that's true, if the pyramids had been like come upon over and over, it's like, what does that mean about what we believe society is? Right? That's a question.
Okay. I don't know.
No, but like what like it means that what we have created is like an illusion to keep things linear, like to keep things under control.
Well, that is the current understanding. These things can change.
Totally. Yeah. But if you look into like, so like you said, things can change, but like a lot of hurdles and obstacles have been in the way of Graham Hancock. Even
of course.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because people like, you have your jobs.
No, but that's always is, right?
No, totally.
Any new thing that comes into science is always ridiculed.
Right. Because you have to rechange everything.
Yeah.
But that's also like aliens.
That's why it's a tougher battle to prove it. So once you prove it,
yeah, exactly,
that it has to have a certain level of like you have to be able to prove it in all these different scenarios.
Totally.
And it becomes reality.
So when he first came out with his book Fingerprints of the Gods a long time ago, like 1990, early 2000s, something like that, and then he was being ridiculed, and then now recently like National Geographic or something, or History Man, I can't remember, but they were like, I think it's Nat Geo, they're like, history is much older than we thought. So we thought it was like 100,000 years, but it could be like 200,000 years of civilization, etc. Right? Like we don't actually know. So if you look at how easily that disrupted things, or could disrupt things, because like you become an Egyptologist and then you find out your degree's like junk.
Yeah.
Right? Like dropping aliens.
I don't think it works just generally like that. Like it depends on if you're in the field and stuff, I guess. So it's like you're finding objects, right?
But what about aliens though? Like if you drop out like, oh, there's life on other planets and like they've been visiting us for like, what does that mean about religions?
Right. Yeah. It'll break that.
Right. And then people are like, oh, that's not, there is no,
But these are the movies that we grew up watching. So I always loved.
Right. True. So we've already like normalized this. In our minds.
For us at least.
Yeah. And do you see the thing the Pope was like, if there are aliens, like
we will christen them or
no. But that is a very Catholic thing to do, right?
We'll bring them to Christianity.
Yeah. Now he's saying like, if there are aliens, that wouldn't change anything for our religion. But I think he's just covering his bases, right? Because like, maybe he knows about the aliens, and he's like, okay, I need to, like, just so this religious structure doesn't crumble, I need to make it so that we accept if aliens are.
Well, here. They will. I mean, I think if it is true with aliens, then of course they will maneuver around it to add it to their story.
Right. Totally right.
That would make it work still. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
But okay, so back to the ancient civilization thing. In the Bob Lazar interview on Joe Rogan, he said that they've recovered multiple of these crafts, right? Mm-hmm. And one they had to dig up. So I'm wondering, what if these so one scenario,
well, how far did they dig up? So that it comes down to like, did they crash a long time ago?
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
what do you mean? What are you going to say?
Well, he didn't say how far they had to dig up, but I know what you mean. Like, it's like, because every 100,000 years, like the world covers itself up again.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to dig it up, because like sand gets built up and like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, he didn't get into like how far they had to dig it up. But if they had to dig it up far, could it be that this is an ancient technology? It's not actually aliens. Like, we've created this.
Right. Yeah.
That's
or it's like it's those humans from before that left, and they're coming back.
Ooh.
Are they just humans, not alien? Like.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like at that time they're like, so like the Noah's Ark story.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, we need to. So there was a global flood that happened. It's been in all religions.
Or like Wall-E. You know how they all left?
I didn't watch Wall-E, bro.
Well, I mean, the Wall-E was a different thing. I'm just bringing in the aspect of where they left the planet because it was like
that's what I mean,
destroyed or whatever. Yeah. So they left Earth and they came back like so many years.
So many
years later.
That could be it. It could be like Wall-E. You know, we could have been like, okay, climate change is getting crazy. Let's just leave for a bit. Like they have this ancient technology of how to leave.
Yeah.
And then when they came back, it's like
we reached that point in technology. So it's like humans had reached in the past. Yeah, it's just us coming back.
I could see that. That would make sense. If you look at like technological progression, that makes sense to me. Like if you off-worlded like Elon Musk does, create a civilization on Mars, then you come back and you're like, oh damn, the Earth got messed up.
It would be interesting if we find if we do go to Mars, that we find that there was a civilization there.
Okay, so here's a crazy one. I thought this was nuts when I first heard about it. There's a guy, Zachariah Sitchin. If you check out Spirit Science, they do these little animations. I was deep into it like years when I was like studying yoga. Okay. I came upon Spirit Science, the YouTube channel, and they talk about like our history. So apparently this is like what the Sumerians believed, and like what Zachariah Sitchin, who what do you call that? He translated the Sumerian texts and then like told the story of it. So there was a civilization on Earth. I mean, sorry, Mars. Because Mars once they said there was life on Mars before, but then something happened, and then it could have been like a meteor that hit them. But then Tom DeLonge said like scientists have seen that it was a nuclear bomb. Like the radioactivity is similar to as if a nuclear bomb had gone off.
Okay.
So, we're going to ignore that part, but it's like, that's interesting to note. So there's this ancient civilization, their world was ending. So they created some sort of way to like travel, like maybe teleportation or something to Earth. But in their travels, there were already civilizations here, and that made them gods to the people here.
Right.
Like, oh, you came from a different, you came from heaven, you know, and you have this advanced knowledge that we don't have, right? And it's like, that makes sense too. If there was civilizations on Mars, could they have traveled here and then populated? But that's one, that's one theory. Oh, no, sorry. That's not Zachariah Sitchin. Zachariah Sitchin is 12th Planet. So 12th Planet there's another theory that there was a civilization that comes close to Earth every like X number of thousands of years, and then they were running out of, like, their world's ending. They need resources from our world, which is gold. So they came here, and then they tampered with the monkeys that were here to, like, okay, we can turn this monkey into like our slave to dig for gold for us.
Okay.
And then they would take the gold and bring it back to their planet to help, like, with the radiation from the sun or something like that.
Okay.
It's another theory. These don't seem as plausible to me.
Well, you can have so many theories.
You know, like I think the
or so many stories.
Yeah, exactly, totally. But which one's the correct story? That's what we're just like, we're spitballing.
That's why
here.
it's up in the air right now because of what?
Because they make sense, but it's
Pentagon
like,
hasn't said anything else about it.
What?
Yeah, because Pentagon hasn't said anything else about it.
Exactly.
So it creates these sort of stories.
But Tom DeLonge made another point. He's like, you can't release it until you know what it is. Because if you go to the public, you're like, hey, there's this thing that's happening. We don't know what it is. People freak out.
Yeah.
But that's why they're studying it, so they can drop it and be like, hey, it's just this thing, guys. It's just this planet that's like 2 billion years away. It's all good. We know what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Because you can't just like...
Or Men in Black was real the whole time.
Oh, could you imagine? I was speculating on this. Like, what if there's this intergalactic, like civilization, like Star Wars, right? But they keep us in the dark because they're like, oh, these monkeys haven't even figured out how to off-world.
Right.
You know? So maybe Elon Musk knows this, and that's why he's trying to get to Mars so fast, because if we get there, then they'll be like, okay, we'll share our technology with you. You've proven that you are good.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Again, speculation, probably not real. I think, and then there's your one, like, what if it's just we're in the simulation and this is the creator, like, checking in on us, like
poking holes here and there,
holes, messing with us, you know?
Yeah. Changing up the program.
Yeah, because right. Because if you're creating a computer program and like a video game,
Yeah.
So then you.
No, it's like, think of it like GTA.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
In the GTA Online world, they do updates. So there's like, oh, okay, this week we're gonna have aliens show up.
Oh, true.
Like that's the event.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, they make missions around that, right? So it's like
right. So what if we're just living out a video game sim and they're just dropping these new missions and these like maybe like, oh yeah, that's true, like GTA seasons.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, time to make these
so all the like before they release something, they release it in trailers, right? Oh, like the bank heists are coming in, so they release it as a trailer. So all the movies are our trailers to get used to what's coming up.
Bro, what if? Actually, that's a great. If this was a sim, that's a great way to explain it. I mean, if we are going in that direction, like we had this talk yesterday, like life is a journey that's homeward bound. Like we're all travelers to this reality, and then we're gonna leave it. You know, that's what death is, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what if prior to this we plugged ourselves into the system? They're like, ready for the game? All right, here you go, VR headset. You're gonna forget everything.
Yeah.
It's an 82-year long game. Like, have fun.
Right. Yeah. Well, it'll feel like 82 years or whatever.
But
whatever
to
it is.
us, it's like a 5 minute. To us in that world, it's like 5 minutes. You know, could be.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the tech that we're going towards, like, how will you know what's real and what's fake when you're in VR?
Yeah.
You know, and then the people are like, well, you would know, like, let's say you were in the VR world and everything was so realistic, right? And then they're like, okay, don't worry, we've built in this safety net, so you know it's fake. If you just push this button, you'll be like, you're still in the video game, right? But what happens if you get rid of that button? How would you know you're actually in the video game?
Yeah.
Or what if this is like the most advanced sim and they're like, okay, you're not going to know you're in the video game. It's going to be crazy. Are you ready? Could be.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right, that aside, I think the ancient, so which one do you feel is the most accurate?
Which one? Which?
Like of the theories?
I don't know. Mine is always going to be an I don't know.
Which is the funnest theory?
What
I
were
think
the?
the video game one's the funnest.
Oh yeah.
If we were just playing.
Well,
a
yeah,
video
I
game,
was the
it
one.
makes
Yeah,
makes sense.
simulation. Yeah, yeah.
That one makes the most sense and is the most fun, but
Well,
but the most practical, I would say.
if we're in a simulation, yes.
That one logically makes sense and it's fun. But I think the most practical one would be ancient tech that we're finding that we think is from off-world planets, but it's actually our old civilization's tech.
Yeah.
You know, because we think that combustion, regular combustion, which is like, you know, fire, oil, and stuff. We think that's the most, like, the only way to power things. You know, but what if an ancient civilization figured out how to power things differently? Right? We watched that little video where they're saying that the pyramids are actually power plants. They're not tombs. They became tombs later on because people moved in, but their original purpose was to generate electricity for the world. Right? However they did that.
Yeah. Or the world or wherever, that location.
Or that location, yeah. No, but no, the world, because they said that's what obelisks were. Obelisks were ways to capture the free-floating electricity, because Tesla had proven that you can pass electricity without wires. You just need a way to send and receive it. And
I don't want to say proven, but yeah.
Well,
like
yeah.
he was working on something
He was
like
working
that.
on something like that. So if he had figured it out, it's like, what if he was just figuring out something that another ancient civilization had already figured out?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because the only reason why we're hindered with our progress, like, is that possible to send electricity over? We'll never know because economics gets involved,
Yeah.
right? So what if we didn't have economics standing in the way of our development? How far could we push things?
Well, it's a slower process. It does change over time. Right?
But it's so slow, is what I'm saying.
It's a slow
like,
thing. Yeah.
right? Like when they found out that you can, at the original time, they found out you can use alcohol instead of gas to power cars. But the gas industry was so big, so they like vetoed
Well,
that.
it's not. The alcohol was used to create a different thing.
But we could use that to power.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we don't do that now because of like economics.
Well, you know,
like competition.
Yeah, but you know what happened at the time, right?
No, what happened? Oh, prohibition.
Yeah. That's why it was prohibition was there.
But was prohibition started because of economic interest or for national security?
It was
most likely.
No, it was lobbied by the oil companies.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
to prevent that from happening.
It's not national interest. Well, they might have been. They could have said national interest, but like
they could spin it to them like that.
That's what I mean. So like we think it's like, oh, prohibition on alcohol was because people were getting drunk and killing people, but it's like, no, it's because we didn't want you to use that as a fuel source.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like hemp. Like the reason why marijuana was illegal for so long is because the paper mill, they lobbied to have, they just like marketed that like hemp equals weed makes people crazy.
Yeah.
And then that's why we can't use it.
Yeah.
So then the prohibition on that. So then paper took over.
Yeah.
So that's the model of like not infinite. That's finite resources, right? So like, if there's only so much money to be made, of course you're going to lie, cheat, and steal. But what if you had infinite resources? What if your civilization, like let's say the Egyptians had infinite resources? Of course you're going to only go for the best thing, you know? It's like if we had UBI, we could pretend like we had infinite resources. And then it's like only the people who are really good at their job will get a job. You know, it's like, no, you can stay home. You don't need to work. It's like, no, I'm inspired to progress humanity. And you'd only have Elon Musk's working, you know, right?
But they need people to work.
The laboring.
Yeah.
No, but that's why robots. With
Okay,
UBI,
I got you.
if we have UBI, you create robots. Nobody needs to work. Only the people that are really compelled to push things forward will work.
Right.
Like, so if that was this scenario, like, because they said in ancient Egypt time, they had so much food that they didn't need to, like, worry, you know? So if that's the case, all of them would be, like, inventors.
Right.
Right?
Interesting.
That's why I think the alien thing is plausible. The ancient civilizations creating alien tech that isn't actually alien tech.
Right.
I think that's the most plausible, most practical. Yeah. Because some of the stuff they said, like how the alien ships travel, I don't know, like maybe. So basically, what it is this was such a great explanation for it. So the bottom side, if you watch the doc, you'll see it in there too. But the Bulbasaur doc on Netflix, there's 3 thrusters on the bottom of the thing, right? Those control gravity. That's why it can float, right? So when it's traveling through space, everyone thinks it like floats sideways, right? But what it does is it goes belly up towards the destination. So those 3 thrusters are pointing where it needs to go, and it creates like a distortion in gravity. So think of it like a bowling ball on a mattress. You put a bowling ball on that mattress, and then that ship gets pulled forward. So what those thrusters do is they make it so heavy in gravity in that direction that the ship gets pulled forward. It's not propelling itself, it's being pulled. You know?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, I don't know.
No, like, I mean, like, logically, like, you can visualize it, not if it makes sense, like, practically. You can visualize what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, if you can visualize it, then it's like, then somebody could work towards it. But is it real?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's just opposite to everything we understand, right? So
that's what he's saying. It's like, it'll change physics for us. Yeah. And then how do you power?
Are they loud?
No, not loud. No, because there's no combustion. You only get things that are loud because of combustion, or you're breaking the barrier of the sound, right? Sonic boom. That's why things get loud. But like they get loud for multiple reasons. You either hit like the sonic barrier, or
no, I was thinking like a helicopter, like how it's
no, but a helicopter's also using. So the way he explains it is it's an action-reaction force. That's what we have today. Something has to go out of the back to go forward. Or helicopter, something has to be pushed to move, right? But what they're what the aliens do, allegedly, is they're not propelling anything. They're just creating a distortion in gravity, which pulls them forward. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So instead of like shooting something out of the back.
But just like, how does that work? Right? That doesn't.
So
that
how
goes
does that
against
work?
everything we know about gravity.
That's what exactly. So what they're saying is element 115 affects gravity. The element.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I'm just thinking how you can change gravity.
I don't know.
Because it does. It goes against everything we currently know.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently, if they didn't show the footage because they were trying to find it, like they record, like, so he has Bulbasaur has a bunch of recorded tapes during his experiments, but the one that so they use element 115 to bend light. So like, there's like a laser, and then they use element 115, and then it'll like change the direction of the laser, and that's how they prove that you're affecting gravity. I guess because like gravity is dependent on light. Light is dependent on gravity.
How?
I have no idea. Well, anyways, but the footage of that was taped over, so they show like the beginning of it, but they don't actually show the bending. It's kind of convenient.
See?
Right? So it's like, I don't know. That's why you're like, I don't know if it's real or not.
That's why I don't understand. Light, I don't think it really affects.
Is affected by gravity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. See, it was like questions. But anyways, so
but I don't think that's true for that. I don't know. I don't think so. Doesn't seem really right.
I don't know either. All right. Well, we're not scientists. Who knows? Neil deGrasse Tyson, Elon Musk. You got to get on that.
Well, they should ask. Yeah, they should have him on.
That's what I'm saying.
Ask him these questions so he can break it down, I guess.
But what if that guy's like not to our current knowledge of how science works? So then you're kind of at like a roadblock. Because like he's explaining
Neil?
things. Yeah, Neil and Elon, and then Bulbasaur on a podcast. Let's say, and then like Bulbasaur is explaining something, but Neil and
no, but if he gives a different perspective of it.
Oh, and then they're like, oh, that actually could work if you did it like that.
Yeah,
maybe they should put all 3 on a podcast. Joe Rogan for president. Yeah, that's why. But here's another trippy one. You know how Gandhi was talking about like the invisible energy that rules everything.
Okay.
Like it's a yoga prana.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So so what they're saying is, so how do you power such a vehicle that can shoot that thing, right? So right now, the best we've got is atomic energy. right? You're gonna split an atom,
Yeah,
and it creates like a bomb. What are you thinking?
dark matter.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah,
Because dark matter
yeah,
is against the opposite of everything.
yeah, yes. Antimatter is dark matter.
Okay.
So what they're saying is like, there's two ways to do it. One is what they're saying is you hit antimatter with matter and it creates an explosion, and you can harness that explosion.
Okay.
So that makes sense too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say anything makes sense. I just okay, cool, all right. Like I don't know enough about it to say if it makes sense.
Like you can see visually how it will work.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
using all right. If
Yeah.
like I don't know if you hit antimatter with matter, will it explode? I don't really know. But actually, at CERN, I think they're trying to create the first antimatter. Do you see that?
No.
It was like years ago, and they were talking like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they were talking about creating the first antimatter. And like, but then I thought
first antimatter or like the God particle.
Maybe they're two different things.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're two different things. Like, but maybe it wasn't CERN. Maybe they're like somebody's creating antimatter. But what would happen if you create antimatter and it touches matter and it explodes? You know, like you're kind of messing with Earth right now. Seems very dangerous, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's science. This is always going to be dangerous.
But like, that's also why they're saying that like element 115, it's easily made in a zero gravity space. But that would actually make sense if you're creating antimatter. You would need zero gravity so it doesn't touch anything. Like it's floating in the center. This is like total science fiction. Like we don't know if this is actually.
I don't know
how it
anything.
works.
Yeah.
But then the other thing.
So we need those moon bases and all that to do other studies up there.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. The other thing is, so there was the antimatter matter. You brought that up, but the one I was going to get to is, so if you split an atom, it creates a crazy explosion, right? The other thing is, what if you can take the creative force of what created an atom? Because there's an energy that creates atoms. If you could harness that energy,
right?
That's what they're saying is like, that's what propels these alien spaceships.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, it's like, okay, I can logically see how that would work, but can you do it? Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to like. You kind of really need to. Like
it really comes down to, will it work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, all right, let's say
or are they just giving scenarios of this is the way that these things possibly work?
No, yeah, exactly.
That's what they're saying.
No, well, they're saying,
or they're saying that's how it works.
That's how it works.
Okay.
But what we're doing is we're saying scenarios. So it's like, let's bring it down to something practical. It's like, okay, we need to raise $25 million for this business. You can come up with a myriad of strategies.
Yeah.
But which one is the real one? Right?
That's
an analogy for what we're doing right now. It's like there's a million ways this could play out, but like which one is the most logical or practical? Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. And with SpaceX too, like what's happening today, it's like we're seeing ourselves on the frontier of being aliens.
Okay. So I just looked it up as they're saying dark energy. So dark energy is negative gravity.
Okay. So what does that mean?
It's the opposite. Gravity is positive gravity.
Can you look up dark matter?
I searched in as dark matter opposite of gravity, and that's kind of so negative gravity is associated with negative relativistic mass. I don't know, like these are things that all gravity is associated with relative mass, not rest mass. I don't know what that means. So which must travel at greater than the speed of light.
Oh, really?
Dark energy.
Dark energy has to travel faster than the speed of light?
Maybe.
But isn't CERN, they're trying to make something hit the speed of light? Or no.
Or hit each other at the speed of light.
Yeah. And then that's how you create dark matter, dark energy.
I don't know. There's like dark matter. What's going on here? Like we're still learning about dark energy. So maybe.
So what Tom DeLonge was saying is that what's happening at CERN like with this thing, you can do that on a smaller scale, and that's how you can harness this energy and use it as power.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just create a smaller CERN, right?
Right. Yeah.
Makes sense,
Maybe.
you know. But can you do it? That's the thing, right? It's like, but here's the crazy part. He said like within 5 to 8 years or something like that, they're working on that exact technology, and they're gonna drop that technology if they figure it out. First company,
Mm-hmm.
the To the Stars Academy thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what it always comes down to, right? It's like Elon Musk's like reverse thrusters. It's like that would work, but can you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And he's proving that he can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I think we're still really, even in understanding dark matter or dark energy, it's still very early.
I think even in space travel, we're so early to it, you know,
we're
like
still babies.
yeah, like we're using like these crazy rockets that, like, if you actually understand how a rocket works, like if, no, not if you understand, like conceptually,
Mm-hmm.
it's no different than us flicking a paperclip towards something,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like that's really what it is. You're just shooting enough fire out the back
To get
you to where you need to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems so archaic to me. That's why the alien thing sounds kind of cool. If you can affect gravity, you can go further and faster. Maybe.
How would it work in space when there's no gravity?
No, but that's why the element 115 creates the gravity.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, conceptually, I could see it. Like you're creating like a wormhole
Mm-hmm.
with that gravity, because like you're creating such a heavy gravitational pull that it's pulling your ship forward. You're not
Okay, I see
thrusting
what you're saying.
right? You're not thrusting
Yeah.
towards it. You shoot that element 115 to where you need to go. It creates such a heavy gravitational pull that it creates like a wormhole that sucks you through.
But doesn't affect anything else?
Doesn't affect anything else.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why doesn't it affect everything around it?
Because there's no gravity in space. No, actually, yeah. But then it would create gravity around it. So then other things would be sucked towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. How would that work? If you do create some sort of wormhole, like how does other things on that side not get sucked into that wormhole?
Right. I mean, these are just questions that, with my limited understanding, can ask. But like, there's probably other questions that are around it.
But I mean, even that one, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because that bowling ball, remember that bowling ball video where they explain how gravity works?
Mm-hmm.
And they put like a heavy bowling ball in the center, and they threw like marbles.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It would create like a circle to like get to it until it got to the heavy
Yeah,
object.
yeah.
So it's like, if that's how gravity does work, then even if you had a gravity machine, what about the other things that are surrounding?
Yeah, you're
that?
shifting those things around.
How do you only isolate your ship?
Yeah.
And the gravitational pull.
Mm-hmm. That's why it doesn't make
sense. That's a great question. That makes it not plausible in my mind now. Because it's like, so not only do you have a way to create gravity, you have a way to isolate gravity.
Yeah. That's why you gotta like question these sort of things. Like, okay, what, like with our limited understanding of science, right?
Yeah.
That's also limited that I know of. There's probably other things that you could ask.
True. Yeah.
That maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson can ask, right? That he would probably know more about.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, but that still doesn't take away the fact of like, how are these alien ships moving at such weird?
No, that the question still is there. Like, how are they doing that?
Oh, how are they doing it? Right. But this like proposition of how they're doing it doesn't seem to make sense. Like what we're saying about the gravitational pull
Well, they
thing.
didn't get into that. I'm like,
No, they didn't get into it.
nobody asked that
No,
question.
he explained how it worked, and I was like, oh, that logically makes sense. But then this,
Why doesn't
thing
it
about
affect other things around
why
it?
doesn't it affect other things? Nobody ever asked him that. So that is a good starting question. Yeah. I don't know. I'm all right. So I'm gonna go with it's an ancient civilization's technology that we just stumbled upon.
Right.
Could have been a Wall-E incident where they left and they came back.
Right.
Or maybe that's what the dark side of the moon is. Like these alien outposts that everyone talks about. It's not really an alien outpost. It's like our old civilization's attempted survival.
Yeah.
Like the 100, right? It's another good example when they were like in the satellite or whatever, like the space station, and they went back to Earth, and it was like, oh, it regressed. We thought Earth's progression would be linear, right? But again, it's like it's non-linear. It's like you thought it would just keep going forward, but it actually regressed back to what it was because the Earth swallowed everything back up. Like in the 100, that's what happened, right? Yeah.
That is the humans coming back.
And it's just the humans coming back to see, like, oh, are we still kind of screwed, or Yeah. And maybe that's why they look humanoid and they're small. Apparently, like, they're really, really small. But it's like, if you're in space, you might just shrink. Right? If we were there in humans in space. That's why they look kind of humanoid, but not fully.
Or just the form that generally happens.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what Joe Rogan was saying. He's like, what if that is us, but our form is like it adapts to the environment, right? So like we won't actually need muscles. We won't actually need like height, because in space you don't need muscles or height. You just need a big brain. That's why their heads are so big, right? Like that makes sense too, Yeah. I don't know. All right, final thoughts, Fish?
They're among us.
Yeah, do you think they're among us? What do you think? If there were aliens?
No, I mean, I think it's cool.
They talk about the tall whites. I know it sounds so racist, right? But they talk about the tall whites are among us already. These aliens.
That's what Men in Black was trying to say. They're already here.
Yeah. And do you remember at the end of Men in Black, they were playing with the marbles?
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. That blew my mind when I first saw it. Like, they were playing with marbles, and our universe is just one marble in the sack of some kids who were just playing in marbles. Yeah.
Like, they always ended it with, I think, was it the first one? Like, it's like we're within another thing. Yeah, it's another thing. It's like, oh. Yeah.
Makes sense, though, right? Yeah, because remember, like, I think it was the first one where they opened the locker.
Yeah.
There was a whole civilization. They're like, oh, behind they're back. I got to watch that movie again. There's a lot of layers to that. But remember, they were like, oh, they're back. The god is back.
Yeah.
You know? And then they shut the locker door. And then, like, at the end of that movie, we open our locker door, and it's one locker door with multiple.
Yeah.
See, so many layers to that movie. But it makes sense. Like, Will Smith was in Independence Day, and like, I think I want to go back and watch all these alien movies now. Right? Sounds so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's enough musing for now. We'll hit you back next week with hopefully something real.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we'll see. I'm gonna get back into these alien trains, and it's gonna be like Aliens Part 2. But yeah, until next time, feel free to pick up some. Oh, I didn't even mention this. Use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. I might have said that at the beginning, but yeah, ZenRealClothingCo.com. Free playlists, which are on Zenreal Radio, or if you want to pick up some stuff, use code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye.